Okay, thank you guys for coming. I know it's a very difficult time to come, but there's really important questions for you guys that you guys would like answered, and therefore having a meeting is the best way to do it. Therefore, there's a lot of implicit knowledge that I have or that we have behind closed doors for the Head First management team, but we just kind of assume that you guys know a lot of the information because we go over it and over it and over it over the course of the year. But then we go, okay, even though it's implicit for us, you guys don't necessarily have all the information. Then we start covering stuff on top of the old information that we just had, and then information gets lost, and then there's a disconnect between what the direction we're going and what information you guys have. So I want to start off by most important this time of the year, of course, is Christmas. Second most important, though, is Star Wars. And the new Star Wars movie just came out. Who saw it so far? Okay. Out of the people that saw it, did you like it?
Yes.
Who saw it and didn't like it? Okay, good. Just so I know my audience. So I'm a big Star Wars fan, obviously. It's getting really mixed reviews. And one thing that the criticism is coming from, they didn't have, unlike the Marvel movies where they showed the movie before putting it out so that they can get comments and information and feedback in order to make the movie better, and then get that feedback and then apply it to what the movie would end up looking like. Star Wars didn't do that for obvious reasons. They don't want to leak all the information out there. Unlike Star Wars, not to go against the Star Wars franchise, which is beloved to me, but we're having that preview on the front side to give you guys information, more importantly to get information back from you so that we can help to create the season, to create a 2020 that you guys like, want, and where your desires are implemented. We did this last year where we took a lot of input from you guys, and we think we're making a better product this year. At the same time, if viewers went to see the Star Wars movie, if they had a preview and they gave information, it's not like the Star Wars franchise would take the information and go, yeah, that's true, we're not going to have lightsabers anymore, we're going to have swords. They're not going to change all of it based on the input that they get, but if they get some critical feedback that they feel is insightful and it's in alignment with the direction that they're already going, then they can make changes. The same is true with us. So first of all, I'm going to run through these slides really quickly. We're doing it on video, which is a new thing for us, so if people can't make it to either meeting, then there's an opportunity still to capture it with video. So first of all, the 2019 college decisions. I wanted to start with this slide. I think it's important because the goal and reality for Head First players, including you guys, juniors and seniors, is to play in college. Each commitment is a huge celebration for us. We're excited to create a new list every year like the one below. This is a list of players from last year, 15 of whom committed to four-year colleges. There's another 15 plus guys that went to the junior college route. So again, in a very real way, 1 year ago, 30 plus guys are now on college campuses, not including others who are on college campuses that aren't playing baseball, but that are at very compelling schools, pursuing their academics and figuring out okay, baseball helped to get me there. I had a great career. I love the memories and the friendships and all of that, but I'm not playing anymore, which happens to all of us at some point. In 2020, we have USF, Menlo, Yale, Long Beach State, Menlo, Cody Vaith, it appears, just committed yesterday to Chico State. So definitely very exciting information. So this number is a good percentage of what this is already, keeping in mind that most senior commits occur later, not sooner. So these would be all considered very early commits. Last year in review, 2019 in review and a recap, and by the way, I'm going to fly through it and stop once in a while, but really I'm just going to read bullets off to you guys. We had the return of the 18U team for graduated seniors, which is important because it becomes the major league team of the organization. We had it years ago, then we didn't have it for a couple of years, and 18U baseball was kind of wavering. We made a decision a year ago that we were going to bring it back. So a year ago right now, we didn't have an 18-year-old team. We didn't have a team for graduated seniors. And again, in the past, it was like the pinnacle of your career. It was senior summer or senior year in high school, then playing your senior summer, and then ideally playing at the college or pro level or having a career after that. Even if you didn't, you played those because that was the last time of your youth career. Then for years, 18U baseball kind of went away. Not just for us, but even on the circuit during the summer. We decided a year ago to bring it back. not knowing exactly how that was going to go. And I decided that I ran those teams in the past, which were the Berkowitz Collegiate teams, which comprise of college players and or graduated seniors. I dipped down and met a lot of you guys when I went to the 13U level like 5 years ago. Then last year made the decision that's where I want to be, is to return to where I was for a while at the 18U level, kind of at the top of the organization, being able to view down and be able to create steps for you guys to get to that level, which means that you are going off to pursue college baseball. So we had a return of the graduated senior team. We had 15 plus commits that we described on the other slide. The senior class, Berkowitz 35 collegiate team, we went to Alaska last summer, which was a huge deal, and it's worth sharing with you guys because for all the experience that went into Alaska and the trip, which is a once in a lifetime opportunity for the players who went, it's really unknown to our younger generations. Yet, hopefully you guys are going to have the opportunity to go there going forward. Headfirst alumni, probably this year more than any other year, the volume and success level of our alumni in college, selected in the Major League Draft and excelling at the pro level was very clear. The point I'm making is your Headfirst experience doesn't end with graduation, and it doesn't end when you start on a college campus. And we have guys that I received calls in the last week of some guys who are looking to transfer in college, other pro players that come in here to hit like every day, some college players who are back this time of the year in the winter who come in and use the academy and share what they're doing. In addition to that, 2 of my coaches this last week went to eat, just have meals with groups of their players that they played with in the past. Just really fun, unique stuff that through our business, through Headfirst Baseball, and through coaching, that we get to have access to you guys in your lives, not just while you're in high school, but even after you guys graduate. In tournament wins, we had 69 overall wins. In any tournament win is hard. One win is hard. 69 in a year is a staggering number. It adds to over hundreds that we have over the last many years. The 18U show team that we had last year was the most successful team in the upper division. They had 5 tournaments, they won 3 of them, meaning the 18U show was the most successful. We had more than 50 different college coaches attend Headfirst showcases and tryouts. We had 30 plus different colleges so again, 50 different colleges, college coaches representing 30 different colleges, not including you guys going out and making your own connections, but that's just what we're building and providing in-house for you guys. Now, changes in 2020, that's a recap of the past. Many of you, like I said, helped to make Headfirst better by providing insight based on 2019. So some changes that we're gonna have going forward. There's a new program called Kirikubby, which is a registration and payment system. So payment is 100% my brother. So I have a slide that my brother gave to me so I can share with you. This is news coming from him. I also have slides from other of the management team who I'm presenting the information on their behalf. We're going to have fall outdoor practice options now, which we didn't have in the past. Obviously for seniors, this doesn't relate to you guys because you'll be on campus at that time. But for the juniors, there will be outdoor opportunity. A big one, Jimmy Moyles hired to Headfirst management, college advising as a Headfirst coach, etc. So Jimmy Moyle was with us in the past. He's been running our showcases and help with college advising and college recruiting for years now. Now he's full-time back on staff with us, which is going to be very important for a lot of you. January showcase training is something that's new in 2020. Spring showcase training that George is going to run. This is to fill a void that's left at during high school in the spring, and it's also meant to complement the high school, so it's not something instead of high school, although some people will use it instead of high school, but it's something new that we're doing during the springtime for high schoolers. Also, the return of the Gamers program in the upper division, which is a Jimmy Moyle-led movement of bringing back the gamers that he's going to be running. January showcase training, probably the hottest topic. We repeatedly see players unprepared for the showcase stage. So we create showcases, opportunities for players to play in front of coaches. It's set, there's a good field, St. Mary's College, Ohlone College. We have the coaches there looking for talent, and we see the players and they're not ready. And then the overall event depends on the success of the players. So for me to I look out there, and aside from your parents, I want you to be very good in that environment because I put the event together, bringing the coaches in to see you. So the success of the event depends on the success level of the players. So I was thinking, how can I remedy the fact that players aren't ready? And tracing it backwards, I go, okay, who is in charge right now of getting them ready? We've relied on your high school coaches to get you ready, and because we inherit you from high school, and also we've relied on head first coaches. But that's not enough. And hopefully high school coaches are doing a good job, and hopefully head first coaches are doing an adequate job. That's not enough because they don't have the information. They don't know precisely what the colleges are looking for. They don't necessarily know the answers to the test. So I thought, I do, and some of the other folks do. How can I get that information to you guys? So we feel that we can do more in terms of making sure players get the necessary information and training to learn how to stand out. Again, learning how to be a good baseball player and training, you obviously should be doing. Learning how to showcase is totally different. And there are some good players who showcase very poorly. Conversely, there's some frauds that are very fringe players, but they showcase exceptionally well and they get attention. So I have to look at, and I look at over many years now and hundreds and thousands of players, I look and I go, what are the common threads of what makes someone successful in terms of standing out? And why are other people not standing out? Even though, again, parents are rooting for you the most, I'm there like wanting you to have the day of your life and promoting you and pumping you up and telling a coach about you to see you perform and go, shoot, either I was wrong or he's making me look wrong. So, and it's hard. It's a tough thing to do, but that's what we're trying to attack through what's called showcase training. There's showcase training that will occur aside from January. This is just a January concept. Though important, just acquiring information is not nearly enough. It's critical for players to practice it, to learn, develop into being a better showcase player, in addition to being a better baseball player. That's what I was referring to. Just becoming a better baseball player, becoming a better pitcher, having better command, more breakers for a strike for a pitcher. That's great, but they're not going to see you throw 6 innings or 8 innings, or they're not going to see you field 100 ground balls or play entire games. They can't. It's hard to recruit and to identify who's a good baseball player. The profile of baseball player, it's the hardest thing to identify. So they're looking for tools and they're looking for things that stand out relative to your fielding, your style of play, your batting, your pitching, the tempo, the mannerisms, all of it. So our job is to try to help wrap you better so that you can stand out in that environment. By the way, for seniors, the recruiting isn't nearly over. And for the seniors who are committed, you've only just started. Now the only difference for the senior commit is you have a head start of just knowing which campus you're going to be on next fall. Most of the senior commits who are going to a campus are going to bounce back to a different campus over time. In other words, the process doesn't stop. For those who are going to junior college, in a year from now, they're in the same boat. They're looking for exposure. They're wanting to go to a 4-year still. So the process of performing and getting recognition and getting coaches to like you, it doesn't stop the whole way through. The difference when you're on an actual team is the coach gets to see you in game situations over longer periods of time and you have value as a baseball player, not just as a talent. But first we have to figure out how can we make whatever talent you do have, how can we wrap it up better so coaches can identify it. January Showcase Training serves 2 purposes. The purpose of the Head First staff training the players. Also, Head First is closely evaluating players for summer and fall placement, team placement. Different than the past. In the past, what we did in January is put you on hybrid teams that kind of played in January. We went out to the tournament circuit and were rained out, had awful weather, put a lot of stress on arms unnecessarily. January is not a really great month for baseball, and yet we were in tournaments, and once people are out there, they want to win, so they're making sacrifice and jeopardizing health probably in ways that they shouldn't. In addition to that, they're just playing more tournaments, which is good, but there's something, unless there's something better. And again, the better of it, the January Showcase Training, is a combination of training, having live situations, doing it on college fields. So some people go, well, showcase training, so is it just showcases? It's actually not at all. So it's really training in live situations and getting you ready to be able, it's like practice showcases on college fields. So the colleges know the edge, there's not the edge on it because you're a work in progress. When we do showcases like in the summer, you're not as much a work in progress. The expectation is that you're closer, not further away from the ideal, or else you're just dismissed. In this scenario, the edge is off for you guys. You guys show up to have fun, develop, get better, work very hard, and learn, and be able to implement that and practice showcasing over and over. For example, in showcase batting practice, is it a slower tempo batting practice or a faster tempo? Players. It's fast. So when you take a swing and fall off balance and another swing's already coming, you had a bad round. You weren't ready. That was your shot. You weren't ready. And you can blame the coaches or the tempo or the music or the sun or the lighting. That's showcase batting practice. That's what it is. It's not going to change. So then your BP, your showcase batting practice needs to change to be able to match that. So just a very small example, but just knowing that's not nearly enough. Because if we had BP with you having that knowledge, you'd either go too fast or too slow, and it takes a while to have the tempo to where you can show a good round of batting practice, and then do it over and over and over. And it goes to all the different positions. So again, the showcase training concept is how can we set ourselves apart as different, because there's a bunch of teams to play for. There's a bunch of tournaments. There's all kinds of different high school programs. Nobody does that. And nobody does it well. Nobody even has the information to do it well. So they might be doing it on accident, just in terms of being a good coach, and it also applies over to showcasing. But even for us running teams as coaches and preparing you to be a good high school team or even a good college team, it doesn't necessarily make you a good showcase player. So there's disconnect there. So that's part of what we want to focus on. Again, it also gives us, time to evaluate you guys. So you guys change a lot. The players change a lot over the course of a year, not to mention years. So for some folks are asking the question, well, if I don't do January, Mario, can I have a conversation with you about team placement? No. Like the conversation is, I need to see you play. Like I need to see your talent level. The fact that I saw you last year, or your coach said what you did during the fall, that's yesterday. Like that's past news. It's meaningful. You build equity. If a guy's been a strike thrower for a couple of years, he has higher value than a guy who hasn't been a strike thrower for a couple of years. Still, you guys change dramatically. Some better and some not. Again, in baseball, for us to try to figure out which players would be the best players over time, we would be dramatically wrong. All of us would be dramatically wrong because we don't know who's going to work. We don't know exactly who's going to grow at different times, who's going to pick up a second pitch, who's going to receive information, implement it, and roll with it, as opposed to getting information and doing nothing with it. Who's kind of fading out of baseball, who loves baseball, who doesn't. We don't know the answer to those. So again, January serves as a time. So somebody asked me today, and it's a good question. Mario, can you give me is it possible, do you have a sketch? Have you sketched out the teams yet for summer and fall? And my response is, I would love to finalize and do all of the teams right now. What I have to wait for, I wouldn't be able to do it because I don't have enough information on you guys yet. But I could probably get close just kind of based on positions. Even positions, your positions change. So some people are going to become pitcher onlys. Or your high school is going to say you're a pitcher only because it's convenient for them. Within the amount of players that they have, it would be inconvenient for you to also hit. But we go, shoot, we think you should hit as long as you can, because you can hit. But a player might go, nah, I've already given it up. Like I already gave my bat away to my friend. I'm not going to hit anymore. So all this stuff is very real. We don't have all the information yet. Even to sketch it out though, it starts with us knowing who's signed up. So the sign up process, which we'll get to the Cure Cubby, is really where it starts. So I wrote up there, the ideal question, I think, if I could answer the question individually for each of you, Coach Mario, who would be my coach? Who would be my teammates? What would be our schedule? And what would be the cost? I would love to have all those answers, and then if I did, we wouldn't have a need for a meeting. Again, the truth is, it starts with you guys getting information, or many of you, most have signed up, not everybody, signing up, us knowing exactly what they're signing up for. Will we be accepting players who don't play in January and who are doing summer and fall? Yes. A lot of players, we pick up like 40 to 60 players during the spring each year. At most 80, that 1 year was 80. On average, it's probably about 40. And it depends on how many teams we're having. So we don't know exactly how many teams we have until we know the players. Unlike, it's the chicken and the egg effect. In high school, you already know you're going to have 3 teams or 2 teams, or some schools 1 team. And then it's just a matter of how many people are going to be on each roster. For us, it's a little different. We go, how many people are we considering? Then, which players need to be together based on talent level, or how we're going to arrange the teams, who are the coaches that we're going to hire to run those teams. So we have vision of what it could look like, which we're going to explain to you, but it really then goes back to you guys with actually signing up. Team and coach information. There's a roster size dilemma. I gave this information a year ago. 2 years ago, we had a roster size. Anybody remember what the roster max was 2 years ago? 14. It was 14. And a year ago, I said, it's an issue. We don't have enough players. I tried to go with a lower roster. It didn't work. So my huge solution, I gave all kinds of information on why it didn't work that year. My solution was a roster size, a max of 15. Was adding a player per team. It didn't work at all. We had all the same issues. The issues are never too many players. There's not enough players. So the issue, the roster dilemma can't be solved. So I go, okay, what do I do? 16 players on the team? Which is not high, and there's plenty of opportunity to go around, or 17 or 18. The thing is, it wouldn't solve the issue. The issue is you guys showing up. The issue is you guys being more committed to the teams and actually showing up. Unless it's previously communicated that you're not going to. Some people are like, I'm gone the whole month of June. And I go, okay, I have another guy that's gone the whole month of July. So they're similar talent levels, and they happen to play similar positions. What if I put them both on a team and it manages a roster situation? It's a really tough thing. The problem with low rosters, you guys think you like it until it's your kid who's catching when he doesn't catch and gets hurt, or having to pitch more and he doesn't really pitch, or pitching too much. So it seems like a good thing. It's like, yeah, let's only have 10 to a team. Let's have their kids pitch all the time and overuse their arms, but not my kid. Or people go, well, I have reasonable reasons for why I miss. I don't know why everyone else is missing though. This is the stuff I get. And it's like, we have non-committed people on the team, they miss all the time and blah, blah, blah. And then I know the same person misses. The truth is, you're gonna miss. So what I'm saying as a solution, there's not a great solution. We don't want to add more to the roster just because we don't want to get risky numerically. It puts a burden on guest players and that kind of stuff. Also, I know there's one specific team that a parent on the team, so one of you guys asked me, can we have more players on the team going forward? Because the amount of players we have, we don't really get a team feel. And I heard that and that was like a red flag. I was like, forget that, we're at it. And we're gonna have more so we can have a team feel and not have guest players and players coming and going and stuff. But I don't think you really want that. Hopefully there's gonna be fewer conflicts going forward so that you guys will be able to show up more. So that's my big solution, is just appealing to you guys so that you can show up more. Playtime and opportunity, ample playtime and opportunity. Does that mean by position? That again, you do all of what you want to do? Not necessarily. Some coaches are very liberal with that. Others are a lot tighter. This is not super relevant for you guys. The 18U division, there will be 2 teams at the 18U level. There will be 2 senior class teams. Senior class teams could possibly include graduates. So if it's an 18U team and there's college freshmen who have basic 18U eligibility, then it could work. For the 18U team that I'm running, they play a collegiate schedule, so they're not playing 18U, they're playing 19, 20, 21, 22. So some of the teams we play, they're like, Mario, can you please bring older players, just because they're older. So that's a dilemma that I have right now, of what exactly to do with the roster relative to bringing older guys. We will be having 2 teams. The coaches here are examples of who would be coaching. So Moyle, for example, is in 2 different places, although Moyle might be up at the senior level. Bish also might be up at the senior class level. And at the 17U level, so really all of you guys relate to 18, 17, and 16. Seniors would go here, could go here possibly for a summer-only situation if there was a need. When it lists these different coaches, it doesn't mean necessarily that those coaches are, so it's like, Mario's gonna have a team, and Bungars, and Castro, and Moyle. We could be co-running teams together. For example, George had 2 teams last year that were kind of just 2 rosters that would intermingle differently at different times. So that's a concept that we're gonna do here. So the difference here I had a senior class team a year ago. The problem that I had with the team is I didn't have it long enough. So having it for January and their senior summer, it wasn't long enough for me to do the work that I wanted to do with them. So that's why I'm now going to the junior class as well to work with some of the juniors and then graft them, and then basically, they don't necessarily make the team the next year, but a lot of them probably will. Now, you guys are also, many of you are baseball 16, so then it becomes the option of George is going to be running a team or two at 16. He's also at 15. Harris is also at 16. These are showcase teams. 16U juniors could also end up here with Moyle. Again, that conversation, for some people, they go, I'm a junior, I'd rather play on the older or something like that. And I go, you're a junior on JV and you're not getting reps or anything. So you should be in a position where you're going to play. Or maybe someone goes to Monte Vista and wants to play for Tim Harris because they've played with him in the past, or there's different reasons on why a 16-year-old junior would play at the 16U level rather than the 17. So it's possible that some of these teams could be stronger than some of these teams, for example. So again, for a 16-year-old junior, I wouldn't discount off the top playing 16U rather than 17U. So again, if you had a 16U, if you said, no, I want to be on a junior team, and I said, okay, our junior team is all 16 though. And then you go, well, no, I want to be on the other junior team. The age kind of goes away. As you become juniors and seniors, it's more based on talent than age. Head first teams, this is just an example of what some of the head first teams are going to be. We're not going to have show teams, especially in your guys' circuit. There's also, there's the Berkovich collegiate team. There's Berkovich showcase teams. So the Berkovich kind of connotates that they're a showcase team. The difference with a showcase team and a non-showcase team is just that you have already paid, you are paying more for a showcase team, and the individual showcase is included. The highest gamers team will be a showcase team. The highest Blackhawks team will again be a showcase team. So that's why they have asterisks by them, because those teams could be showcase teams as well. Jimmy Moyle's role. So as we go through this, Jimmy being hired on is to answer, I get a lot of questions and a lot of, pulled in a lot of directions, but also what I need to do is kind of lead where we're going with it. So Jimmy is hired to answer questions, give feedback, do team placement. He's hired to do what I'm doing so that I can be relieved to do some other things, but he can't do all of it at first, especially in year one. So for me, between the teams that George has and the teams that I have, I will end up covering a lot of these teams, while Jimmy will be answering a lot of the questions, and there's going to be crossover back and forth, but Jimmy's going to have a large role. Is trying to for me to not do, trying to narrow the focus of what I'm doing, and also get Jimmy acclimated with his new role. For college exposure, since the goals for most of you guys who play college baseball, the goals head first also to provide opportunities. This is a slide from Jimmy Moyle, who can't be here, but I'm reading it on his behalf. College showcases and camps, they're the main way players go to colleges, or that they connect with college coaches. In 2019, we did these 4 events. In 2020, and again, we were at Los Medanos, we were at St. Mary's, we were at Fallon for the Head First World Series. All these were recruited events. You saw the numbers earlier of how many coaches came. We're doing college showcase training. Again, that's on college fields where the college coaches will be present. The focus of it isn't college exposure. It's training you guys to showcase. But for us, like even for our tryouts, the way that I think about it is I go, okay, we're having a tryout. That's a bunch of talented players at one place. I'm gonna have some coaches come in and watch them. And the coaches, I was super proud's not the right word. I was very happy with how it went because they did their homework. Like they approached it like a showcase. So our tryouts, it was meant to just be a tryout. It felt, whether indoors or outdoors, it felt like a showcase. And I was like, cool, that went even better than I thought. And again, the angle for me is just if I can get you guys in front of college coaches more, that's how it works. And they need to see you over and over and over again. Ideally, they don't see you the same. They need to see you better than the last time. So we're doing that. We have 4 college exposure events in the next year, which are the same as these. 2 in the summer, 2 in the fall, which was like last year. Jimmy does a couple of free seminars to learn about college process. There's also opportunity working with Jimmy in individual and small groups for college advising. I would highly advise you guys to capitalize on going. Jimmy really knows his stuff. He has a passion for college recruiting, and your parents, then me, the next person that wants you to do very well and go to college is Jimmy, because he has vested interest, because he's getting the colleges to go there, talking you guys up and trying to get them there. His job is securing the field and the college coaches for the different showcase events. So it's definitely good to take advantage of his expertise. This is a list of the different schools. So this is colleges that attended Head First events in 2019. Not going to go through it. We're going to roll right through it. But again, it was worth making the slide just because it's very compelling. Well, the part that I look at is for players who end up going to a different organization, I always look and I go, I'm curious why. And we don't have enough, we haven't done the recon to figure out exactly who's going where and why. But I look and I go, shoot, for what you're getting and what the deal is here, and we put a lot of time into it, and we go, what are we missing? That a player would, instead of this kind of environment, and they aspire to be a college baseball player, or so they say, and as they choose to go elsewhere, and we go, shoot, the other organization's offering what that is appealing or compelling for a player to go to that. The majority of the time a player goes elsewhere, figures out their situation didn't improve, and then they're kind of left out in the dust. I get that, but I'm just curious. That's a big offering. That's what it was last year. It looks to be the same the next year, which means you guys are in front of a lot of colleges. The line of communication, this is from Monica, who does Head First admin. Parents should always contact their coach first for any team, game related questions. If you're unable to get an answer from the coach, these are the kind of lines of communication. Your team coordinator, their job is to go over the team and game schedule information and see who's available for the week or even longer ahead of time. Monica receives admin questions from you guys, uniform orders and general questions. Michael does all finance. Jimmy Moyle he's orchestrating gamers, Head First, Blackhawks, Berkovich showcases and showcase teams. For me, I'm really narrowing it down into trying to focus on the teams that I'm running, which are seniors and juniors, and then George is running teams. So I'm doing 18, 17. George has a couple teams at 16 and 15. So it's really trying, by the way, this represents about half of the upper division, and this represents about half as well. George does tournament and practice scheduling. He does the travel, so he does all of the scheduling. He manages the travel for all the teams and also uniform distribution. The finance part, again, this comes from my brother. We're using a new system which is called Curacubby. Curacubby is used by many schools and childcare businesses. It's very user-friendly, lets the customers manage their own account. You'll now be able to register using your bank account or credit card. You get invoices and can view your account, pay for uniforms, etc. The total for each program will be broken up over 6 months from February through July. This payment covers the summer and fall, not for seniors, as it only includes summer for you guys. This is what the program cost is, which is the same as it was a year ago, although you're going to be getting more. We didn't change the cost. Well, the increase in cost is the Curacubby cost. So there's a cost that comes with that. So there's a base team model. The pitcher only rule is half price, so it's an incentive for pitcher only. So there's also something else called a primary pitcher, which is a hybrid situation, not relevant right now. But there's a pitch for those who are pitcher onlys. You're not paying the complete price. The showcase team, again, it's the addition of the individual showcase in the summer, also the individual showcase in the fall. That's why the differential is $400 between the two of those. I think the reason it's not exactly half for anyone doing the math is because the Curacubby cost. So I remember in a meeting that came up that the math is not exactly half, but it's around 50%. The senior class team, basically this is what the cost is for the summer. So that's what the senior class teams are, and then there's a senior class PO. The $200 deposit will be applied to the overall program cost. The seasons and schedules, same as it was last year. Summer is June and July. By the way, it's not precisely June and July, so it could be early May through late July. If there is an event for a specific team that bleeds over into August, then there could be a little leniency on each side, also with these dates. 5 events or tournaments. Showcase teams will include the individual showcase as a 6th paid event. And again, the extra cost for the showcase teams is because of the extra showcase. For people who aren't on a showcase team, and something that I explained a lot to people in the past, the showcase team means that you've kind of bought the higher package, means it's included. If you're not on a showcase team, you still have an option to go to the showcase. So it just means it's more a la carte. So you have a choice to pay for it or not, where the showcase team, you've paid for it. It's part of your package. At least one travel tourney will be covered in your tuition, a SoCal or Reno type of travel. I asked George if there would be examples of the type of travel. Really depends on the team makeup. And then it depends, like a lot of the tournaments don't have their information out yet. Also, it would be the makeup of each team. If we have a team who went to an LA trip in the past and loved it, or the majority, then we go, shoot, maybe we should do it again. Or if they went to a Reno trip and had an awful experience, and we go, you know what, let's try to individualize it more based on who is on that team and where they've been in the past, and try to create some variety. There's 2 practices per week in the summer, 1 indoor and 1 outdoor. In the fall, roughly 3 months, we stop before Thanksgiving time. Again, 5 events. The 6th is the showcase for some of those teams. By the way, there will be non-showcase teams that also, not really for this division, but non-showcase teams that are involved in team showcases. So there will be college exposure for teams that are non-showcase teams because it's part of their schedule in a team atmosphere, not individualized showcases. Outdoor workouts are going to be added September and October. This is from George. The team pages will have the following information for each specific team, and George kind of manages and runs the team pages for you guys. Your uniform needs that you get from George, which are black and cardinal jerseys and caps. Items needed from West Coast. The team practice schedule. Then the team event schedule for each season. So again, when will you be practicing in the summer and where? What events will you be going to in the summer? Coach's contact information. He individualizes each of these for your guys' respective teams. The BBF banquet, good opportunity just to share with you guys. We're doing the 5th annual awards banquet and fundraiser in Friday, February 7th. It helps to raise money for players with financial hardship. The 2020 event is going to be at the Black Hawk Auto Museum. Who's ever been to the Black Hawk Auto Museum? Okay. It's amazing. It's a spectacle. We're super blessed just to be able to go there and have the event. I'm very excited and humbled by getting to go there this year. We'd love to see you guys there as a guest at the event. If not, there's committees that are together for donations, raffle items, and auction. If you have access to any cabin, vacation home, timeshare, again, we don't know kind of who has what, but if you do have that, or if you know of somebody and they're willing to offer any of that, then we would love to include that into the event. Tickets are on sale through the BBF website. Before I go to what's next, I just want to shift over to, this is from the website, and I just wanted to show it to you guys because it's very relevant and it answers a lot of questions for what January is. So, in general, style of play, taking the field, in between innings routine, moving the ball around. There's a player that comes to my mind. In your guys' mind, have you seen a player in those showcase events that stands out? I'm curious, not just because he's big and strong, but the style of play. I'm just curious, raise a hand, somebody. Yeah. Bobby Brown, his name is known not just because it is from the famous Bobby Brown, but even if there wasn't the Bobby Brown, then every coach knows Bobby Brown's name and they love him. And he absolutely stands out there. Yeah. Tyler Hom has mastered style of play. Another guy for me, Cameron Ferris, who's a senior. He's committed. He goes in. I think there's maybe the last 2 showcases. I'm not sure if he got hit or I don't even know if he hit the ball hard or at all. Maybe he just popped up. And so it was even without performance. So people go, well, I'm 5 for 5 in my last 2 showcases. Our coach is interested. It's like, no, you got 5 bloopers and and half of them were lucky or the outfield was back too far because they thought you can rake, but your best bolt was 150 feet. Like, they're not interested in that. Also, something for you guys to understand, the whole college recruiting thing, this is how much disconnect there is for you guys and how much misinformation there is. There's a player we had recently who went to a college showcase or a college camp on campus at this school. They felt like it went really well. They felt like they did well. They felt like the coaches singled them out and gave them props and like gave them encouragement and created a relationship and all of that. The feedback that I got from the school, like not even here, like no, like absolutely it's a no. For the player, they probably went out and bought the sweatshirt and the hat and all that. They think they're going there. This is how far of a difference there is. So for you guys, how do you navigate that? And people have all kinds of ideas like, well, why don't they just do? They're not going to. They're going to do it their way, and they're all different, and each school is different. The common theme is you guys don't really know how it works, so you want to get as close as you can to figuring out how to crack the code of being able to stand out in a way that they're going to appreciate or like, then create a relationship, and then hopefully that kind of goes into you going to that school. When you rely on intuition, I think about it, and I think for young players, who would you listen to? The answers would obviously be your head first coach. Maybe they have an idea of what it is, but where did they play? What was their pathway? What kind of showcasing have they been a part of? What college coaches do they know? Even for the head first coaches, your high school coach, how far removed is your high school coach from anything having to do with showcasing and college recruiting? There's a player last year at a very prominent high school in our area who, if that high school coach had access to one school, you would think it's the school that he went to play baseball. But this player asked me if I would call that school for him, and I'm like, why would you? Like, I played at Stanford, so it makes sense that a young player asked me if I would call Stanford, because I went and played at Stanford. But if I went and played at Stanford, and they asked someone out, their high school coach, who didn't play at Stanford, they'd be like, that doesn't really make sense. So I look and I go, why in the world would this player really knows their stuff too? Why wouldn't they ask? It's interesting to me and revealing that they wouldn't ask their high school coach to make the call to the school that he went to. Again, it's just sharing with you guys, like, where would you get the information and where would you get accurate information? And in the long run, it's who are you going to trust to develop you? One more thing about January showcase training, or showcase training in general as it relates to January, is January is the first step. The next step could include spring. For the guys not playing in high school, there is going to be a spring option. For guys who are playing in high school, somebody mentioned earlier about NCSA or about what you can or can't do when you're playing at the high school level. Who knows what you can't do when you're playing in high school? You can't compete. You can't participate in live competitions. Can you do training? Can you do live pitching, live hitting matchups? Sounds like competition. But there are showcases that occur in the spring. So can you do showcases? Yeah, you can do, there are team camps and showcases and all of that occur in the spring. So for a senior, you go, I'm gonna really listen to my high school coach. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but at the expense of trying to pursue a school that you have a relationship with, you're gonna have some stuff to balance at some point and really figure out what the things are that you can or can't do. So for us, again, we don't want to step on toes in any way. We just want to train you to get you closer so that when you are in front of coaches, that you're going to be ready. So again, a lot of information on the website about that. The what's next? For you guys, it's registering for January spring training. After that, it's attending January spring training to improve and in order to be evaluated. Again, the dual purpose of us pouring into you and you training and getting and practicing a different style of play. It's an evaluation process. There will absolutely be changes made to whatever roster we predetermine or think it might be. There's going to be changes in January. Again, in the past, we had you on kind of hybrid teams in the month of January. Some of you guys liked those teams and were like, oh shoot, I really want to be here. And others like didn't like it. And we were like, it's not, wait, but this isn't the whole team because we don't have complete teams in January. The teams are for summer, fall. So January gives us a chance to train you to cater to the question of how can we make them prepared to be in showcases. Meanwhile, it allows us to evaluate you guys for a longer period of time and get you ready for high school baseball. The next thing is you receive placement and an offer for your 2020 summer and fall team. If we had everyone signed up, if the good Lord appeared and said, that is it, not one more player, make the teams with what you have, then I would say thank you, and I need to see them. I need to see them more because I know what most of them can do based on the past, but I need to see what they can do most currently. And I need to know what positions they are, what positions they project at, and all the data that we're going to gather through the month of January. After you receive your offers for 2020 summer and fall placement, which will be over the course of January, if not into the fall, or if not into the month of February, then you commit and then you register for your 2020 and first team, and then you begin to plan for your summer and fall team. Colton, can you hit that?